Chosen one, listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because right now, in this moment, God is unlocking 7 ways for you to hear Him through your very body. Through nerves, through aches, through breath, through pain that wakes you up at 3 a.m. and won't let you sleep. Through moments you thought were distractions but were really directions carrying His voice straight to you. Not just in thought, but in bone, in blood, in every cell. The world tries to make you believe that your body's weakness is a sign of spiritual failure, tries to shame you for the signals and stirrings, but I'm here as you read these words to tell you it's the opposite. Chosen, your body is speaking right now, because God is speaking through your body. Let me take you into the first way. The sudden pain that has no cause. 1 minute you're fine, the next there's a heaviness behind your eyes, a pressure in your chest, maybe a sharpness in your right side that makes you stop and question. What is this? You worry, you reach for meds, you Google symptoms, but nothing explains it. People say it's stress, maybe dehydration, but your spirit knows it's an alarm. Right now, God is putting you on red alert, warning you of a danger you can't see, urging you to pause, to reconsider that decision, to pray over your child, to check in with your spouse, to cancel that meeting, to double lock the doors. Not just discomfort, this is protection. Not just pain, this is prophecy in your body, signaling spiritual threats before they can manifest in your life. You've learned to pay attention because every time you try to shrug it off, you realize later God was speaking through your pain, calling you out of harm's way. Let me show you the second, the quickening in your gut, the sudden unease that comes out of nowhere. You walk into a room, shake someone's hand, pick up the phone, and your stomach flips. There's nothing logical, no words exchanged, no reason to doubt, but you know what you know. Others ignore their gut, but you've trained yourself to listen because God has used it to steer you again and again. That time you almost signed the contract but stopped cold and found out 2 weeks later the partner was lying. The moment you sensed something was off in a relationship, and months later the mask dropped. Right now, as you hear this, let me make it clear. God is using your belly, your very viscera, as His instrument. Not just instinct, this is divine inner warning, not just a feeling. He is shouting through the knots, through the nausea, telling you turn back, close the door, don't answer, don't agree. You try to talk yourself out of it, but the feeling gets louder, insistent, relentless, and you realize God will not let you betray yourself. Here's the third, the physical pull toward places or people. You think desire is always of the flesh, but let me break this down. Sometimes God guides you through longing, through restlessness, through that urge to get in your car and drive, to visit an old friend, to show up at a church you've never attended, to linger in a coffee shop for no reason you can explain. Doors open, accidents happen, appointments you didn't schedule turn into divine encounters. That urge in your limbs, that pressure behind your steps. It's not always about escape. Sometimes it's the Spirit pulling you, drawing your feet like cords to the next assignment, the place of provision, the moment of favor. You only see it in hindsight, the business deal that happened because you walked in at just the right time, the prophetic conversation with a stranger in the checkout line, the breakthrough in a setting you almost skipped. Right now, as you read, your feet are being ordered even if you feel lost. Now listen to this carefully, the fourth way. Exhaustion that seems to make no sense. It's not just tiredness, it's bone deep, a heaviness that settles on you suddenly, sometimes after you say yes to something God never told you to agree to, sometimes after you let a certain person back into your life. It's a warning, not a weakness. God is not punishing you, He's protecting you. He's shutting your system down so you won't spend your energy on what drains your purpose. Some days you just can't get out of bed. Appointments get canceled against your will and you think you're failing. But God is forcing a Sabbath, pulling resources back into your own spirit, closing gates from parasites and users who can't reach you when you're resting. You may try to push through, to gulp caffeine, to fake your way with energy drinks, but nothing will override the shutdown. Suddenly you find out days or weeks later, a crisis passed you by. A plan to exploit you fell apart, and your forced rest was really a miracle in disguise. Let me tell you exactly what happens in the fifth way. Tears that flow for no reason. You wake up in the night, pillow wet. You cry in traffic, in meetings, as you're washing dishes. There's no clear cause, but your body is grieving something before your mind fully understands. This is not just sadness. Sometimes your spirit is weeping for someone else, interceding without language, carrying burdens you cannot rationally explain. Other times, the tears are release, God flushing grief, trauma, even curses from your bloodline. It's deeper than emotion, it's cellular. Your body breaks open and the waters come. You want to be tough, you wipe away tears, you hide the wetness. But right now, those tears are God's language, a cleansing, an intercession, a testimony. You weep, and afterward the breakthrough comes, clarity, release, unexpected favor. Let's talk about number 6, hunger and thirst, unexpected cravings, sudden aversions, bodies asking for more than food or water. You think you're craving chips or sweets, but your spirit is actually starved for worship, for the word, for quiet. Or pay attention, your body suddenly can't tolerate what it used to enjoy. Certain foods repel you overnight. Certain places make you nauseous. The coffee you loved now upsets your stomach. You want to indulge, but it's like something in you is being reconfigured. God is shifting your appetites. He's shutting down portals of addiction, pulling you back when you're about to cross a line, teaching your spirit to hunger and thirst after righteousness. Literally, not just spiritually. Every craving, every repulsion, every sudden change in taste. Listen. God is recalibrating your whole system, purging lies, prepping you for new assignments. Here's the 7th way, and let me take you all the way in. Your body is a vessel for signs and wonders, for literal miracles and displays of His power. Right now, as you read, there are tingles, electricity, a heat in your hands, vibrations through your toes, goosebumps when you pray. These are not just sensations, these are signals of anointing, of gifts stirring. People are healed when you lay hands on them, even if you don't feel worthy. Atmospheres shift when you enter a space. Sometimes your right ear rings when angels are nearby. Your left arm tingles when a word is about to be released. Your forehead buzzes when wisdom is coming. You try to explain it away, but your body is now an instrument, a living, breathing antenna tuned to the breath of God. Let me take you now right into the lonely hours, 3 a.m., when none of this feels like a blessing. It's dark, you're sweating or shivering, your heart races for no reason. Panic crawls up your spine, you roll over, check your phone, scroll to distract yourself, but every shadow in your room gets bigger. You pray, but the words feel empty. You try herbal tea, you switch pillows, you clench your jaw, you whisper scriptures, but still, your chest tightens. Why is your body the battleground? Why here? Why now? Every tick of the clock is a hammer. You replay conversations from earlier. Did I miss the signal? Did I ignore the ache, the warning, the urge to cancel, the strange craving? Doubt presses in. Shame tries to cover you. You feel alone in the night, punished by wounds you can't name. But as morning comes, you realize something shifted. The panic lifts. A heaviness leaves, clarity returns. God was speaking, He didn't abandon you. The body that suffered now holds the word. And you rise, slow but sure, and move forward with a quiet knowing in your flesh and bones. Chosen one, hear this now. What your enemies used to mock, God used as your miracle. The weakness they ridiculed became the channel for His voice. The pain you feared became the signal you needed. The exhaustion that shut you down rebuilt you. The cravings that embarrassed you rerouted your destiny. The tears you hid became your intercession. The gut that warned you kept you alive. The hands that trembled now carry healing. They wanted you silenced, but your body shouted his message. They wanted you crippled, but you are moving under command. Suddenly, overnight, right now, the language of your flesh is prophecy. Every ache a warning, every tingle a promise, every tear a breakthrough, every rest a reset. All 7 ways alive in you, operating without apology, suddenly, overnight, now. Let me tell you what they never saw coming. How all those nights your body rebelled, all the moments you crumpled over in exhaustion when strength seemed far away. Those were not your failures, but the very places God was hiding power in you. Right now, as you take in these words, people around you are still writing you off, thinking your oddities, your reactions, your inability to go along with the crowd disqualify you. They said you couldn't handle pressure. They thought you'd break under the weight. They whispered that your pain was proof you were finished. But God was letting them watch, letting them count you out, letting rumors swirl and opportunities pass your name by. Not because he'd abandoned you, not because you were cursed. He was setting the stage for a reversal so unmistakable even your enemies would have to bite their tongues. Because here's the truth, and I want you to feel this like fire in your bones. While they overlooked you, God was awakening your spiritual senses through every physical signal, tuning your body to the frequency of his voice. That collapse in your plans, it wasn't defeat, it was divine intervention. The phone call you missed, the car that wouldn't start, the meeting you felt too sick to attend. Those weren't glitches, they were salvation in disguise. Other people only know how to grind, to numb, to muscle through, but you had to learn a different way. Your body wouldn't let you put yourself on mute. The signals came louder. Every time you tried to ignore the aching, the weariness, the sleeplessness, the odd rush of energy at the strangest hour, it got harder to be normal. And that was mercy, not condemnation. God did not let you be comfortable outside your calling. Now let me show you what's breaking open right now in the aftermath of rejection. God is turning your sensitivity into your strength. You notice what no one else sees. The subtle shift in a conversation, the tension in a handshake, the heaviness in the air before a crisis. And you're no longer paralyzed by it. Now it's your edge. There's a deal others think is solid, but you sense a dryness, a darkness, and you step back just in time. There's a friendship everyone celebrates, but you feel a stone drop in your gut, and you choose distance only for the truth to surface weeks later. You have learned to let your body testify about hidden things. You trust it more each day, even when it's inconvenient, even when it doesn't make sense. And as you obey these signals, your vindication starts to multiply. Closed doors are replaced by open ones. Canceled connections make space for divine introductions. Money you thought was lost returns in ways you never expected. A refund, a favor, a forgotten seed finally bearing fruit. Proposals you wept over are revealed as distractions. What looked like loss becomes the launch pad for something infinitely better. Listen carefully. The people who watched you stagger are confounded now. They see your movement, your discernment. You don't enter chaos anymore. You recognize the warning tremors before others even sense a problem. They wonder how you navigate storms so smoothly, how you avoid the traps that snare them, why favor keeps tracking you down. You can feel tension in your scalp before a room erupts. You read the tremble in your hands before you meet someone. God equips you for warfare before the battle even comes close. Suddenly, what felt like isolation becomes insulation. Your strange symptoms keep you from danger. Your sudden bursts of fatigue pull you from temptation. Even the awkward hunger that made you self-conscious is the Spirit teaching you when to feast and when to fast, when to linger. when to leave. Let me break this down even further. Your commission is being forged in the very places you used to resent. Where you once saw only liability, God is writing your credential. Others went to schools, memorized formulas, practiced explanations. You learned to interpret the language of your own nerves and muscles. You know what it's like to shake and weep and ache with no visible cause and still show up. You've had to cancel appointments, turn down invitations, risk looking unreliable only to discover you were being kept from traps others fell into. And now, as you obey these signals, you're becoming a deliverer for others. When someone feels panic and can't explain it, you help them name it. When someone's body is shutting down, you help them discern. This isn't defeat, this is warning, this is mercy. You teach people how to survive the sabotage and rise in their assignment by listening to the Spirit's song in their own cells. Let me tell you, vindication does not always look like applause or public apology. Sometimes it's seen in the way you outlast what was meant to finish you. Bills are paid at the last second. Sickness is uprooted after baffling doctors. Unseen favor reroutes what was denied. The platform that overlooked you crumbles while your quiet faithfulness is called for on a new stage. People who labeled you as dramatic or unreliable start to call for your advice because their formulas don't work anymore. When storms sweep through their lives, you show up with peace. Not because it's easier, but because you learned how to survive at 3 a.m., how to pray through sweat-soaked sheets, how to discern through fatigue and weeping and all-night groaning. Suddenly, overnight, the very thing they used as their evidence against you becomes the evidence of God with you. Lean in closer as I speak this commission. You are no longer just a survivor. You are being set as a watcher, a forerunner, one who clears the way for others. You stand between disaster and destiny, a holy signal tower catching trouble before it detonates. You sense spiritual currents that are invisible to others. Your strange symptoms warn your family, shield your friends, disrupt generational patterns. People will not always understand how or why, but your track record will speak for you. You will walk into a room and the temperature will shift. You will open your mouth and tears will fall, not just on your face, but on those you touch. Your hands will know when to hold back and when to reach out. Your feet will obey divine instructions. Even when the road is unfamiliar, your steps are being ordered. What felt like exile becomes the secret place. The place where you download from heaven so others don't have to die in ignorance. The world prizes confidence and a strong chin, but God prizes obedience, sensitivity, willingness to look foolish in order to save lives. Some will try to shame you still. It's not that serious. It's not spiritual. You're too sensitive, too emotional, too unreliable. Let them talk. You know what it is to wake in pain and refuse to hide. You know how panic can become prophecy. You know the value of silence when the Spirit says wait, of sudden movement when He says run. Your body is not a liability, it is the very altar of revelation. And as you embrace this, your territory increases. God begins to trust you with warnings for others. You are given dreams, sensations, burdens not just for your own protection, but for intercession on behalf of the lost, the hurting, even the hostile. Your track record grows. Another disaster averted because you canceled a trip. Another breakthrough because you stayed up praying. Another life spared because you risked looking strange to obey the nudge in your bones. Let me remind you of this. Every reversal is a river. Every vindication births new vision. Your history of pain is filling up reservoirs of power. You will look back and realize all the strange seasons, all the sabotages, all the embarrassing losses were necessary for you to receive this anointing. Others bought credentials, you bled for yours. Others networked. You travailed alone at night, learning to trust the only voice that never failed you. Now those tears are oil. That shaking is your authority. The roomfuls of disappointment have become storage rooms for testimonies. Your journey, unpredictable and winding, is the authority you carry. No counterfeit, no shortcut, just presence, just proof. So now, chosen one, stand tall in your difference. Embrace the commission only you can fulfill. Speak, move, pray, rest, warn, celebrate, intercede. Let your body become the visible sign of the invisible God. Let your testimony multiply in all directions and start to expect the sudden, the overnight, the how did that happen favor. Because you are not being punished. You are being positioned. The slow years, the suffering, the nights wasted trying to be normal. God is restoring the years the locusts have eaten, and He's setting you before those who need your story, your edge, your discernment. And this is my decree over you right now. They thought your body was your weakness, but it became your weapon. They hoped your pain would silence you, but it refined your ear for God. They waited for your collapse, but you are rising steadier, stronger, and surer. They called you unreliable, but you became unstoppable. They planned for your exit, but God commissioned your entrance. They closed the doors, but windows of heaven opened. They tried to outlast you, but you are the one still standing. The reversal is here. The vindication is visible. The commission is released. Your very body sings the evidence. Alert, awake, alive, aligned, available, right now. Suddenly, overnight, now. Let me press this deeper, chosen one, because you haven't even begun to see the full measure of what's coming. Watch how every limp, every tremor, every hunger you couldn't explain is about to be honored by heaven in a way that confounds every doubter. The same people who laughed when you hesitated, the ones who rolled their eyes at your extra caution and whispered about your unpredictability, they are the ones maneuvering quietly now, trying to get in your orbit, hungry to know how you saw what they missed, jealous for answers you receive in the quiet of your discomfort. You are walking in rooms and sensing truth before anyone speaks. You hear the conversation under the conversation. Where they expect you to be distracted by your symptoms, you're scanning the atmosphere, reading the spiritual barometer, helping others maneuver storms before a cloud even forms. Right now, there is a reverence gathering around you, slow but certain, as even the most skeptical realize you weren't just reacting or imagining. You were seeing all along. Your discernment is becoming currency. Let me show you the reversal on a level that's public. Right now, people who dismissed your warnings are tripping over their own feet to call you wise. There are leaders, decision makers, even strangers who find themselves confiding in you about their diagnoses, their crises, their deals gone sideways. Suddenly, your presence is sought after not just for comfort, but for counsel. The very ones who once avoided your cautionary voice are circling back, asking what you sense, what you pick up when you sit near them. They trust you because the record is undeniable. You kept dodging disasters, you kept finding exits, you kept pointing out dangers they never saw until it was too late. It's not arrogance, it's accuracy. Even the places you silently left, workplaces, social circles, ministries that prided themselves on rational wisdom, have stories surfacing of collapse, crisis, exposures. They didn't heed heaven's broadcast, and now they remember the way you always twitched or trembled before trouble broke loose, how your appetite changed before chaos arrived. You once thought you were cursed, living hyper-aware of your own skin and bones as if they were the enemy. But now God is vindicating you beyond your own healing. Every sleepless night, every ache you ever tried to hide, every panicked waking at 3 a.m., heaven is cashing in those tears with compound interest. You're being set as Joseph before his brothers, as Daniel before kings, someone who trusts what nobody else can see, who moves in wisdom money can't buy. Finances are realigning, not through schemes or shortcuts, but through the precision that comes from obedience. Shortfalls are being covered through unexpected refunds, charitable hands, and hidden inheritances. Doors that were closed with disdain are opening quietly at midnight. Invitations are sliding across your inbox that bear too much weight to ignore. The same places that called you weak now call you essential, because without your sensitivity they keep walking head first into disaster. Let me take you behind the curtain, because vindication is not just about public honor. It's about the private places no one gets to see. Right now there's a restoration happening in your family and relationships you gave up for dead. The people who dismissed your boundaries, who called you dramatic for leaving gatherings early, for refusing certain foods, for excusing yourself before you got sick with worry. They're circling back with apologies that aren't always loud, but they're real. You're starting to hear words like, "I see now why you left. I wish I would have listened." In the silence of these realizations, healing is rushing in. Kids who rolled their eyes at your hesitations are coming to you quietly, wanting your blessing before a major decision. Siblings, old friends, even elders who once said your prayers were unnecessary now call in the middle of the night just to hear your voice on speakerphone. You thought you had lost them for good, but reconciliation is moving like oil over rough water, smoothing the cracks. Not everyone returns, but enough do that your cup overflows, not just with validation, but with hope. Let me break it down further, because your commission is not just for you, not just for your house, but for cities and nations and generations. What you have been trained in through pain is becoming a map for the exiles, a mercy for the misunderstood. There is a tribe rising, those whose bodies carry warnings. They are finding each other. People who grew up hearing they were too much, overly sensitive, some a burden. They are gravitating toward your story because it gives them language to hope. You are showing them that survival is not the ceiling. Survival is the soil where seers are made, where watchmen wake up, where ordinary men and women discover extraordinary assignments. You are not just going to carry your own promise. You will be midwife for others who have spent their lives doubting themselves, running from assignments that made their hearts pound, their hands tremble, their stomachs twist. Your scars are becoming directions. The symptoms that once disqualified you now authorize others. If God can use your anxious midnight sweats and your unexplainable tears, He can use the trembling hands next to you, the cautious child, the weeping mother late at night. There's favor flowing to you now in unexpected places, not just in church buildings, but in boardrooms, on calls, and consultations that will never be posted online. People whose names hold weight are watching your ways. They're noticing that when meetings get tense, you smile calmly and ask to pause. They're witnessing that the project picks up after you move your chair or take a break. It's not superstition. It's supernatural. Leaders are realizing you're a barometer. They're learning that what unsettles you is a sign to look deeper, wait longer, ask better questions. The world's algorithm is changing. Favor is finding the tuned, the sensitive, those who know the cost of peace. Where others are burning out, you are paced by heaven. Meetings that once drained you are now places of strategic influence. Rooms that rejected you keep opening almost in secret for your input. You're not fighting for position. Problems find you because God trusts your response. Let me tell you, your vindication is generational. Your children, literal and spiritual, are going to know a world you fought to provide. The world where discernment is trusted, where clarity is welcome, where bodily signs are not mocked but heeded. The next generation will not be trained to ignore their signals. They will be raised to see them as altars, compasses, gifts. Where you suffered in silent confusion, they will have vocabulary, training, safe places. Reversal is more than your personal peace. It ripples through the bloodline, breaks the cycles that wore out your ancestors, restores the time you thought lost forever. And with this vindication, you're not just permitted but commissioned. There comes a moment where promotion looks less like elevation and more like release. More open doors, more mouths to feed, more assignments quiet and breathtaking. God is sending you as a watcher over cities, as an anchor in your family, as a sounding bell in your workplace. You will find yourself moved to pray at inconvenient moments, to text at just the right second, to say, stop or wait, even when it makes you look awkward. But now your history is your shield. You have survived too much to be embarrassed. You have obeyed through humiliation. Now obedience feels like breath. Where you once tried to fit your life into other people's cabinets, you are now the key to locked hearts. Where you once questioned your every motive, you move boldly because God has made it clear. Your body in all its quaking and craving and aching is His trusted sanctuary. Don't minimize your role. You are not a casualty but a carrier, not a sideshow but a signal, not broken but commissioned. You are authorized to teach, to mentor, to warn. The Knights of Wrestling have given you authority to see, to shut down what's damaging, to open what's hidden. You're going to lay hands and watch sickness break sooner. You'll sense the demonic, expose it, and send it fleeing without entertainment. You will weep when others laugh and know heaven is gathering the tears like rain before harvest. You'll break meetings open by simply interrupting with, "Wait, my spirit is not settled." Rooms that want to run without wisdom will be forced to reckon with the presence that moves through you, sometimes stern, sometimes gentle, always accurate. You are not only a warning, you are a welcome, the blessing that opens the way, the intercessor who changes the weather of a generation. Chosen one, this is your closing charge, the decree resounding now. The darkness planned to isolate you, but God used it to commission you. The torment hoped to break you, but every trial tattooed wisdom on your bones. The shame tried to quiet you, but your trembling body became heaven's signal fire. They called your pain a liability, but God forged it into your key. They predicted public failure, but vindication is echoing from your private altar. They built their strategies on ignoring you, but now their solutions won't work till you walk in. They assigned you to the margins, but you are writing the map. They left you in the night, but dawn is stretching out gold before your feet. You are the reversal. You are the proof. You are the voice in the body holding the voice. Commissioned, confirmed, unveiled. Right now, suddenly, overnight, now. Let me take you deeper still, because right now, while you walk quietly in crowds that still misunderstand you, heaven is orchestrating a visible turnaround that no lie, no gossip, no old memory can erase. You may feel hidden, but the reversal is gathering weight. God is moving pieces on the board while you sleep, aligning faces and places, causing the very structure that tried to suppress you to shift beneath the surface. For years, you thought the delays were personal. The missed opportunities, the interviews that turned cold, the friends who vanished just as your body started sending new signals. You lived with the ache of being questioned, the sting of being second-guessed, enduring the half-smiles that said too much. But even as you wrestled with that private shame, something stubborn in your spirit refused defeat. That something was faith. Faith that kept you praying under your breath. Faith that let you keep showing up when every symptom screamed for you to quit. Faith that trusted God was not wasting a single uncomfortable night. Let me show you, chosen one, the fullness of this reversal as it starts unfolding in plain sight. They told you to quiet down, to mute your discernment, to push your body's alarms to the back of your mind. You tried. You truly tried to blend in, to say yes when your stomach turned, to stay when your spirit wept. Every time you betrayed your body's warning, disaster followed. Missed flights, car accidents narrowly avoided, relationships that turned toxic, investments that bled money while you lost sleep. But now, In this season, it's the same signals the world called inconvenience that are setting you apart. Suddenly, clients are contacting you for advice, not just pity. Managers are noticing projects succeed when they follow your rhythm, your pauses, your interruptions that once seemed inconvenient. The same people who dismissed you are catching themselves before speaking, quietly watching your reaction for a sign. You see it, don't you? The reversal is not just emotional. It's practical, physical, measurable. Favor reroutes itself around the stubborn. When leaders try to sideline you, circumstances circle back and they can't move forward without your confirmation. Policy changes when you speak. Resources arrive when you're in the room. They have learned, through mishap and miracle, how costly it is to dismiss what you carry in your bones. And the vindication is layered. It's not just vindication for your reputation, it's vindication for your calling, your design, your boundaries, and for every day you said no when no one understood why. Right now, some are learning the hard way. The warnings they counted irrational are becoming wisdom the hard way. Bank accounts that seem to overflow are suddenly under review. Partnerships that appeared flawless are leaking trust. The reckless ambition of those who hurried ahead is being exposed for fragility. And the peace you protected, through your restless body, through opting out, is now being sought like gold. Let me tell you this truth. You do not have to argue for your discernment anymore. Your body and your history are now their testimony. What once looked like your breaking point is the ground where God is stretching your influence. While this is happening outwardly, something beautiful is unfolding inwardly. The guilt that once clung to you, the guilt of canceling, of changing plans, of leaving early, of saying, "I can't do that right now." That guilt is evaporating. A new kind of confidence is rising. You no longer need approval to trust what your gut, your chest, your tears proclaim. You are not anxious, you are attuned. You are not weak. You are wired for warnings that protect not only you but everyone near what God assigns to your care. That same confidence flows in how you talk, how you pray, how you worship. When you lay hands, fire moves. When you shut a door, peace multiplies in the room like yeast in fresh dough. Friends and strangers, children and elders are drawn to the ease they feel around you when you operate in alignment. No more apologizing for what keeps you alive. No more shrinking to make others comfortable. Your vindication brings new authority. You walk lighter. You breathe easier. You know how to say, "I don't have peace about this," without shame, without over-explaining. This world is getting louder, more frantic, but your stillness, your permission to listen makes the room shift. The anxious borrow your calm, the foolish pause at your restraint, the hungry learn to wait for the bread you carry. And with vindication comes fresh commission. God isn't raising you up just to be proven right. He's placing you as a first responder, a repairer of breaches, a guide for those who are desperate but don't yet have words for it. Some are suffering in silence, their bodies waging war, but their spirits exhausted from being told to ignore it. You will meet these exiles in unlikely places. Parking lots at night, in waiting rooms, in checkout lines, at family dinners when the laughter fades. You'll see them fidget, yawn, offer excuses. Your spirit will know who's been taught to distrust themselves, who's been told survival depends on numbing out. You're commissioned, not as a judge but a midwife, to help people name their signals, honor their limits, receive the wisdom held in every ache, every tear. Some will resist, trapped by old habits and pride, but many will break through because of your story. Your scars are going to save lives, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Now listen, because this commission carries weight, you are not being called into ease but into impact. You will have to keep listening deeper. Keep obeying your signals, even when it reverses your plans, even when people roll their eyes or hint that you're holding things up. But you will move with such clarity now. born of hard-won humility, that even delays feel different, more like detours than defeat. What others call setbacks, you recognize as sovereign setups, and you will be trusted with more secrets, assignments, burdens that would crush the unbroken but fit your shoulders perfectly now. God is expanding your platform. New opportunities will appear that challenge your courage, invitations to speak, lead, write, consult, intervene. Don't let imposter syndrome rob you of your seat at the table. You are not arriving empty-handed. Every battle you've survived is now wisdom. Every sleepless night is intercession stored up. Every canceled plan was a lesson. Every pain has become a passport into places others only dream. Let me paint the picture further. Doors will open for you that stayed sealed until now. You'll recognize when to walk through and when to walk past. There will be moments where you feel the old discomfort, the awkwardness of being different, but this time, it won't stop you. People who watched you wrestle in the past will bear witness to your fruit. Testimonies will ripple out. I waited until she had peace before I acted. Look what God did. We listened when he said pause. The business turned around. I trusted his quiet discomfort during that meeting. It saved us from disaster. There will be days where your discernment looks foolish for a while, until it proves true. That's the mercy God is trusting you with. The chance to be misunderstood until your obedience speaks louder than any defense you could give. Your body, chosen one, is now a living altar. There will be seasons where new signals emerge. A tremor where there used to be silence, warmth where there was cold, a fullness that feels holy, not anxious. Let yourself adapt. Don't mourn the patterns that are passing away. Every change signals new territory. Every ache is a reminder heaven is still speaking. Your commission isn't static. It evolves as God leads you higher, wider, deeper. New regions will open, new languages, new spiritual gifts will stir. You'll feel a tug to pray for places you've never visited, to bless people you haven't yet met, to weep over headlines that didn't catch your eye before. This is the expanding reach of your assignment, your sensitivity scaling for harvest. And now, hear me as I release this closing decree. This is the word that seals all God is doing in you. The ones who called you fragile are about to see you favored. The ones who doubted your delays are about to witness your acceleration. The places that called your pain a liability will name it the reason for their deliverance. Those who laughed at your trembling will beg for your discernment in the coming days. Those who tried to hurry you, who mocked your boundaries, will need your wisdom to survive what's coming. Every signal, every ache, every late-night wrestling made space for a grace that cannot be duplicated or denied. Heaven sets a table for you in the presence of every scoffer, unhurried, unbothered, undeniable. You won't need to explain yourself. Fruit will answer for you, miracles will accompany you, and peace will distinguish you. They wanted you silent, but your testimony will thunder. They wanted you hidden, but God is putting you on display. You are reversal in motion, vindication made visible, commission carried on every breath, every step, every signal. Right now, overnight, suddenly, all at once, the tables turn, the oil flows, the doors swing wide. Reversal, vindication, commission, decree, it is so.